on getting to the point first, and phase 2 looks like they're going to be running some hit scan here. Hey, it's Tanner back in the lineup with Socks on the Hanzo, and Uprising Academy interestingly not showing any dedicated hit scan this time around. Mira is going to be picking up the Sombra instead with Scalar on the Moira. So they might be expecting a Sombra of their own, putting Scalar on the Moira. But this is going to be a really interesting lineup. See, Uprising Academy has the advantage of that mobility, so they want to preempt phase 2 before they get to point.
Oh, they're going to go ahead and aggress Uprising Academy. Titawa is colored purple, so the healers have to wait. This first engage is just going to be some tickles, some pokes to try to get that ult charge. Mira at 29%, Tanner at 39%. The Ashe can develop super quickly, but not when you're back at spawn. A nice hook coming in from Pika means that phase 2 are going to have that numbers advantage for this initial opening of the point. Sox will be getting that other pick along with the Moira, and phase 2 will be capping first.
Pika and Punk, the two flex tanks here in every sense of the word. Punk had quite the game last week. Unfortunately, this time around, eats Pika's hook immediately. Pika as well also had an amazing game last week. Both of these teams, flex tanks, leveling up right when they need them. And now phase 2 are going to be sitting here pretty happy. Sox and Pika can both essentially free range and just look for picks and opportunities wherever they may find them.
There's going to be a little bit of a feint on one rotation, and once again we see a Winston die before hitting the ground. Tons of damage coming in from phase 2. The Supercharger's definitely, you know, going to help out. Dan's at 68%. It wasn't a Supercharger, it was just the Mercy that was helping out with that damage, and the Mercy was just, the APM was so high, it looked like it was hitting everybody.
Right? Uprising Academy now, though, do have an opportunity here. Unfortunately, Titawa got melted before he could even touch Dan's Teresa, but now they have the EMP as an engagement tool, but phase 2 are just playing keep away right here.
Another good hook, keeping the Winston from doing any damage, but Titawa going to have to use the Primal Rage, and that's going to work out for them in at the end. As Uprising Academy finally have the opening they've been waiting for since the beginning of the round. Phase 2 are approaching 60%, but Uprising Academy should be flipping this shortly.
Titawa's a great main tank right there. Good Primal Rage to open things up, and that's exactly what you got to do against a stationary comp, is close the distance and use that mobility to your advantage. I really like the way Uprising Academy, they feinted around the corner as if they were pushing phase 2 back, something that they've done before, but they were actually flushing them, hurting them towards Mira's EMP. So really great teamwork from UPA right here. They just need to continue that same trend, and they have a big advantage since they still have a bomb, and phase 2 has just now swapped.
Uprising Academy could use this bomb to either stall out a fight against phase 2 to help them get to those ultimates. Dan's, though, going to get booped off, and as the Winston, you want to have that jump available, but you must have been jumping at that moment in time, gets booped off. This happens a ton. Swimmer going to find that kill. Klaus is going to be stunned. Will phase 2 be able to focus in on that damage? No, they will not, as Uprising Academy going to continue to.
So Uprising Academy are investing in the Sombra with Mira, and phase 2 want to go the grab route instead, but your Sombra is probably going to be beating out the Zarya more times than not. So this is a great investment in terms of value for Uprising Academy, because Mira is only 2 seconds away.
Yeah, Titawa's been developing these primals extremely quickly as well. We'll have another one available for this fight. Mira going to go ahead and get a 6-man EMP onto phase 2. Mira going to get that first pick. Punk, because of the hack, will get 2 on that self-destruct. Punk, probably one of the better divas we've seen come onto the scene so far this season. As Diva's gotten less and less popular, her impact's becoming less and less as well, unless you've been punked. You've been punked.
You've been punked. Definitely could start his own talk show here. Best diva bombing positions. The Mira is now going to swap onto his own Zarya in phase 2, maybe smelling a bit of blood in the water, decides to go with a fast engage.
Diva's going to work out as Titawa does have that Primal Rage. There isn't one available on the other side. He is going to find that pick with those fists. Phase 2 coming up on some ultimates. They're not going to be able to use them at 96% for Uprising Academy. This should be a lock for UPA. Overtime does start. Let's see how long this stall goes. Not for much longer. UPA gets the round win.
You see now phase 2 playing for the grab this entire game, and Tanner just getting targeted over and over again. Some smart prioritization from Uprising Academy, realizing that, hey, this is kind of, their main damage dealer, the biggest threat. But hey, late grab coming in here. Never say die.
Oh, there's another environmental kill, and Uprising Academy falling into a little bit of a struggle here at the end, which should have been an easy cap for them. Still could be a cap for them, but phase 2 were able to get a couple picks to make this a little bit interesting. In my opinion, this round should already be over for UPA, and this is a thing that a lot of these teams need to learn going into the second half of the season, is to finish out these rounds. That's why we see some of these C9s. That's why we see teams come back into these skirmishes that they don't necessarily deserve to be in.
And with the meta shifting in the way that it has, teams have needed to adjust the way that they approach these fights. Back when it was goats v goats, every single fight, you know what the dance, you know what the song and dance is, right? Track the ultimates, we all meet in a massive 6v6, we brawl it out, rinse and repeat. But now with these more scrappy battles, with DPS heroes coming in, with mobility, you know, reigning supreme in many of these fights, you have to keep your eye on all of the moving parts, any single one of which may have fight turning potential. So it has been a bit of a wake-up call for some of these teams, and one of the reasons that we have seen these overtime fights devolve as much as we have. And phase 2, they're like, hey, you know, the Orisa didn't work so well in Sanctum.
Let's try something different.
Let's try a different Orisa look. Love this. Close to the Clockwork composition, except we don't have a Roadhog here, which is a little bit interesting. This is, shows how much they're relying on Tanner, and in that, Clockwork revolves around the Halt Hook combination. We don't have that same ability combo available here, so it's going to be about the Halt Icicle, the Halt Torb Headshot. Those are all possible still.
Well, we saw Wub take advantage of the Halt Headshots in his game last week, where the Halts just set them up to where they come together and they have a very predictable way of moving that can set up a really nice headshot. If you're that Widowmaker, you can also use the wall to put people over a shield. Say someone's in a with some bubble, you can use the wall, potentially take them out that way. But Tinawat's going to be the one taking some names this time around, as UPA are going to cap the point and also get that initial pick on the Tanner.
Yeah, phase 2 set up shop first, but Dan's is really the only one who has any sustain on the objective, so Uprising Academy force the Orisa down, pump a bunch of damage into her, and once she takes a foot off the objective, that's when you cap it. And then now phase 2, we're going to have a much tougher road ahead to push in with a stationary shield. There is no surprise here. You're going to be obvious whatever you do running this kind of composition, so Uprising Academy can simply play keep away until they get their own ultimates, which are coming in soon. You're 5% away, and EMP into even Coalescence is a devastating combo against these squishies.
You can't escape from the Coalescence. You can't just put that wall up to keep the Coalescence from destroying your team. Pika is going to have that Blizzard. Let's see if it's going to take away enough of the pill to be effective. EMP goes through. Pika, though, going to be the one that doesn't get hacked. He gets stunned, and the Blizzard does go through. That's actually very lucky for phase 2, as there is a small window where you can stop the Blizzard from happening if you get that stun in. Cloud's still going to go back to spawn. Sox going to find a couple kills for phase 2. This should be an opening for phase 2 to potentially grab this point, but we saw from UPA last round, it's been tough to get these rounds to go your way and finalize those. We get a nice hammer kill from Sox. Love this.
We were just talking about who's going to fill Logic's shoes. Maybe Sox going to fill Mangatu's Torbjorn hammer kill shoes.
One can only hope all Torbs can try to be as good as the
legend,
Mangachu.
the legend,
the Lord and
Mangachu.
Savior. Yeah.
And I really like this turret placement as well. As you saw, Sox actually dropped the turret behind them. That's where Mira is going to be trying to attack phase 2. So just as a bit of a preemptive move right there to make sure that the Sombra is not going to be getting on top.
Pika doing a little bit of spraying and a Fran trying to keep them moving slow, going on to the point, but the Soundblade are going to keep everyone from Uprising Academy looking good. Sox, though, using that ultimate to take some more of the field away, but Uprising Academy is doing a really good job playing around the lava on the floor. Tinawat having himself quite the game, actually. That's someone that we should really dive into after this round, because Tinawat's been solid so far on the Paul.
Tinawat has been worth his weight in gold for Uprising Academy. For those unfamiliar, he is a Thai player, gained a ton of fame playing in the World Cup on the same team as Mickey back in 2016, I believe, and now playing for Uprising Academy. Cannot deny the power of a strong Winston, as we are here, tickled out of the air
Oh, 2 quick kills, though, coming in from Tanner, but the support kill can be brutal if you're phase 2. Pika not going to last that much longer. Blizzard is going to come out just in time once again, and phase 2 are actually going to be able to flip the point. The Blizzard definitely contributing to that. Uprising Academy are at 99%, so they need to flip the point as well as win the next fight, which they're definitely going to be in good hands for because they've already gotten the numbers advantage. Punk coming online as well. Some good team play coming in from Uprising Academy. That's something that we were looking for that Gladiators League game that we're seeing here from Uprising Academy. This time around, is Pika, though, going to get a nice pick on it to Lear. Uprising Academy still, though, cannot finish these games off so far. Letting phase 2 come on and compete. You got to get these picks. Everyone seems to be pretty spread out. The focus fire isn't there. Uprising Academy spreading their damage out a little bit too much, maybe getting a little bit too comfortable. It's phase 2. Bring it back here, and are going to flip once more.
And now Uprising Academy are like, okay, all right, enough of the hacking shenanigans. We're going to go for grab. And, you know, finishing your play is the hallmark of an experienced team, right? Keeping your cool even in the chaos of those overtime fights. And Uprising Academy is still working towards that. This is a new roster for them this season. But they have a great opener in Titawatt's Primal Rage. Unlike some other Winstons, Titawatt able to find quite a bit of value even as
Coalescence comes through the stun. Bob is going to try to do something. The Winston's the one that he's going to flip, and there's a self-destruct in the back. Live 2 kills. Actually, Tanner is going to just take out Bob. We'll count that as a full kill. We'll give Bob the credit. Uprising Academy are going to be maintaining the members' advantage. This has not been the deal that they've needed in the past. They've had such a hard time taking phase 2 out of this round. If they keep getting picked off, it'll be even harder, as this will be getting to 99-99 before the end of Nepal. Uprising Academy still in control. They're going to go ahead and use the rally. There's not a ton for phase 2 at this moment in time. Pika can try his best, but is going to have to use that cryo off of the point and wall himself off. Use the Blizzard, though. That's a good stall coming in from that Bay. Uprising Academy maybe giving that Bay too little credit in terms of how they could stall it out. Phase 2 are back on this point.
Yeah, they've got 4 of the squirreliest members of Overwatch on the point, but not for too much longer. Uprising Academy eventually do sweep things up and take a first win here on Nepal. And, you know, as frustrating as it can be to watch these teams, just kill the Hammond. He's right there, man. He's bumping into you every single rotation. But, you know, kept their heads cool. Nobody was going to be dying to, you know, any freak incidents right there. And I think kind of what bodes the best for Uprising Academy is those brilliant moments of teamwork that we saw from them. We talked a little bit about, you know, where Gladiators Legion might be headed and, you know, where they need to look in terms of teamwork. And Uprising Academy is kind of a great example of when that teamwork works really well. So a lot of these dives that you see, not that one, but a lot of these dives that you see from Titawatt, he's not just, you know, willy-nilly throwing his body into the middle of the enemy. Right, he's always coordinating with his team. He's looking for those vulnerable squishies. Where can I put myself so I can help another teammate tickle somebody down? Because, you know, Winston doesn't deal a ton of damage himself. He's all about aiding others.
That's actually not an all-the-time thing, Pete. I think brilliant might be a tad strong to use in terms of describing it, because if it was truly like that brilliant play, they wouldn't have had such a hard time taking down phase 2 at the end of these maps, right? So yes, for the majority of it, I like the teamwork that we're seeing. This is a really good example of what we're talking about, but when it matters, once overtime starts, right, certain teams lose 80 brain cells, right? Other teams gain those brain cells that this other team has lost. And right now, Uprising Academy had a tough time putting phase 2 away, letting them come back onto the point. And we briefly mentioned it on Shrine when we were at Titawatt's POV, but he was trying to take down somebody. The Ash, he gets taken down, and no one was around him there. No one was focusing any damage at people outside of the Shrine. That attention was very split.
Yeah, to be fair, in that case, he was chasing a Widowmaker and kind of got, you know, ganked a little bit by a sudden surprise Ash. But yeah, those are the moments where Uprising Academy, I think, can definitely tighten the ship. But I'm still very heartened by the looks that this team is showing, especially given their historical performance in all the seasons before this, where they struggled mightily to find, you know, a single kill, right?
Their teamwork was not good. coming in, from the last season, right? To be completely honest with you, that's definitely been a big improvement so far for Uprising Academy. Phase 2 getting just a little outplayed here on Nepal. And if the game wasn't mostly, I feel like most of these rounds are Phase 2 just trying to clamber back onto the point, giving themselves a little hope, and then losing, right? Just like every game I feel like Phase 2 has lost so far here. It's the running joke here is a lot of these Trials teams do just enough to barely lose a lot of these maps or engages. In Phase 2, bringing themselves back into these points, this is a really good example of that. As, the Torb could definitely take him down. It's actually the next one is with the Molten 4, where Giga walls himself off, feigning, oh, okay, we just lost this, right? Throws the Blizzard, gets onto the point. The Blizzard buys enough time for 3 people to get back onto the Shrine, and they have another opportunity to potentially get some picks. Uprising Academy cannot let that happen.
Yeah, and this map in specific, Paris, is where that teamwork really needs to shine, because you're not going to be seeing, these scrappy brawls. It's all about those set team fights. And this is where Phase 2's Clockwork composition can really work out in their favor. It's a composition imported from Europe, Clockwork Vendetta, the originators, and has found, quite a bit of success actually on this map specifically, and not something that many teams have prepared for. Although, if Uprising Academy do end up coming out with this Ball Roadhog, not so sure. We're probably just going to take a peek.
I am stoked to see Klaus on a Widowmaker. So all the way back from when Klaus was on a team called Isurus Gaming, which doesn't exist anymore in South America. They were a very, very strong South American team. Then gets put on Brazil Gaming House after that, then gets picked up. Klaus on this Widow was something to behold back in the day. So let's see if it's going to be the same thing here. Phase 2 and Uprising Academy are switched right now on the top. So Phase 2 is the one attacking. Uprising Academy are on the green side. Scalar going to be taken low. Klaus not yet making any contact so far on this Widowmaker, but Mirror on this Rat, though, is getting closer and closer to that Riptire, which could change the momentum, change the face of the game if it lands. But teams have been pretty good about getting rid of the tire. The tires become more and more predictable as time goes on, but let's see if Uprising Academy are going to be able to deal with it, as it's something that you haven't really seen. You see it on Paris and pretty much nowhere else.
Junkrat not as popular these days, but Mirror, Junkrat actually one of Mirror's best heroes, but no, Klaus goes down. We're going to have to look for his Widowmaker later on, and Light Post for the MVP right here, saving Tanner's life and forcing Phase 2 back, or excuse me, Uprising Academy back here. Feng taking so much damage. Tanner has been really accurate with these dynamite throws so far, and that overtime damage cannot be discounted.
Titobot, though, is going to find a return kill, but it's not going to be enough. Paris A should be going down here for Phase 2. Once again, the titles are switched. Klaus and Uprising Academy are on the green side. Lep and Phase 2 are on the white side.
And this is a great opportunity for Uprising Academy to continue to snowball this. They have everything that they need. Bob is about to come online, buy them a ton of space, and if that doesn't work, Nishik has Hold Hog at the ready. Mirror has to find more than one kill here, because Lep can res up one, no problem, and continue this momentum.
Tempo Valkyrie, though, could spell doom for the defensive team. It's going to be enough. Fox is going to find that kill. So far, Phase 2's offense has been running on all cylinders. Bob is going to go through, potentially do something. He is doing something. He's taking a little bit of a nap. He's on the ground. The Halt, though, going to take Uprising Academy off of the high ground. Klaus is going to get a return kill onto this with this Hanzo dance, because they're going to get his counterpart, the Orisa, on the other side. And Phase 2 struggling to do the same thing that Uprising Academy was struggling with last time, is taking advantage of those initial picks and taking the point.
It's not 100% over yet. Tanner has been rezzed back up, but without a couple of supports, Phase 2, excuse me, need to rest, go for the reset before they assault to this point again. And Phase 2 swapped Mirror onto the Tracer, which is not a hero that he plays that often. No, he is going to swap onto the Genji. A pretty squishy hero against some of the hit scan that Uprising Academy is running, but going to be able to match them in terms of mobility. And Genji Blade, of course, a great fight ender.
Another Valkyrie already. Sock's going to get an initial pick. That's a 6v5 now, 64. Rez, though, comes through on to Titobot. Pika going to get another pick for Phase 2. Phase 2 in control. And Uprising Academy having a hard time staying healthy. Punk has the self-destruct, doesn't find anybody, but he does get a booster kill. Uprising Academy have started to even things up as phase 2 are going to get rebuffed. This happens a lot so far this season. A couple picks, Revival on Monday was doing it. You get that first couple picks, and then what happens after?
Right? You got to have a plan B, C, D, E, F, the entire alphabet for these kinds of situations. The Swimmer showing off his Tracer chops, not bad at all, showing up in the kill feed, but it's back to the Mercy for him. His team needs that resurrection and ability to match Lep's healing. And this was actually a pretty big gamble. Mira was one of the first people down, and Uprising Academy are basically betting that phase 2 can't kill them before Mirror gets Blade, which is their win condition. And Klaus has been looking much more comfortable on this Hanzo than he has on the Widowmaker, and very close to the Dragon Strike as well, which is going to be really good against phase 2, also running a stationary comp.
Uprising Academy are waiting for that Dragon Blade to come through. Scalar has the Nano and doesn't want to have to use it to save a teammate. He really wants to support the Nano as the Genji can get bullied after unsheathing that sword. But another good thing that can come from that is a lot of teams will blow all of their cooldowns onto the Genji. If the Genji's able to survive it, get a Swift Strike in, and then you can win it out. And Scalar going to have to use the Nano to try to save a teammate. Swimmer going to be taken down. Tanner and Bob going to do something. It's been a while since you see that. Spear going to go ahead and unsheath the blade, take down the Supercharger. That's a big deal to see the Angel's going to fall out of the sky here, potentially bringing this back for Uprising Academy. Pika will be next. Big blade coming in from here. That is a point-saving blade for Uprising Academy.
Oh, man. I mean, he demolished half a team by himself. The gamble ends up paying off for Uprising Academy, but they're going to swap tactics again. This is really interesting. Teams have gotten, more and more comfortable with swapping really frequently. And, oh, man, phase 2, they're like, yeah, we're not running a Reinhardt straight into a Bastion, man. But this is really good because, hey, you use your ultimate, right? You're not losing a ton of value. And each time you do this, phase 2 are forced to swap off. And it is a long walk to spawn. And in fact, actually, Uprising Academy is going to change up their own compositions to something a little bit more anti-Orisa.
This is that rock, paper, scissors,
yep.
Right?
It is all about the rock, paper, scissors of heroes.
And so they're going to be approaching this second point with 2 minutes and 22 seconds left. They had a ton of time in the time bank, but phase 2 have been unable to secure the second point thanks to some heroics from Mirror on this Genji. Klaus this time around going to get 2 picks. No res available because Lep was the one that falls. Swimmer, though, is going to get his res onto his main tank, and that should be enough for Uprising Academy to stabilize here. Phase 2 seems to be giving them some space.
Yeah, and phase 2 can't. Phase 2 can't push in. If they're not ready like that. I think they were trying to get Pika set up to maybe pincer from the back and take down a couple of these Uprising Academy supports because they have not had any progress really pushing from the front. Hanzo is a really great shield break hero with his Storm Bow, so Dance is going to have a really tough time keeping that shield up, all things else even.
Phase 2 have the Transcendence and then nothing else. Uprising Academy are going to have Valkyrie. Swimmer's been developing this ultimate very quickly. Scalar, though, going to get picked off. Tanner going to be able to find that initial pick. That hasn't been enough recently. Oh, Lep going to escape with his life thanks to that Guardian Angel. Tanner going to get another pick. It's a 63 now for Phase 2. This is a huge opening for them, especially since Fear died before getting that Dragon Blade. Clouds, though, going to try to make things interesting a little bit harder for Phase 2. But what can one Hanzo do? Not much as Bob does another thing. Tanner coming alive. Phase 2 are going to be able to capture both points. Uprising Academy didn't have enough heroics at their disposal to stabilize once again. 2 points for Phase 2.
Oh man, Uprising Academy were barely clinging on every single time. How many times did they lose their main tank and Phase 2 just didn't have the ability to push in and take advantage of that opportunity? Uprising Academy really, gifted quite a lot of time that they didn't earn necessarily. Genji heroics, always really fun to see, and Klaus doing really excellently on this Hanzo as well. But in the end, if you can't keep your back line alive, your front line not going to be too long for the world.
And so Uprising Academy are going to have a good bit of time to potentially think about how they want to get point A, as they did take a ton of time off of Phase 2's time bank, so they could play a little bit more patiently than what might have expected a little bit earlier on this map. As Phase 2, same issue as Uprising Academy. I want to bring it back. That time to kill there at the end, that focus fire, that cleanup has not really been there. They've been able to get it in the nick of time, but there have been a couple opportunities missed from both teams because of split attention.
Yeah, and you can tell that they're also, you know, maybe not just 100% on what they should be looking at any given moment. This is actually particularly obvious on Rialto, actually, in last series, where Funny Astro got a 3-man Boop, and it seemed like, you know, Water and the rest of Gladiators Legion didn't even know he was there, right? And so it's not just about looking, but it's about seeing, man. You gotta see.
Thanks, you're the new guru of Overwatch Contenders.
No, I would never take Guru's spot. He's incredible.
Oh, nice wordplay there, HamTornado. Good stuff. Phase 2 and Uprising Academy going to be seeing each other for the first time, and after Uprising sees what Phase 2 is running, they're going to go ahead and change some things up. Scalar's going to be on this Moira. There is no Sombra on the other side, so there we go. Scalar's going to go ahead and switch over to the Hog, and Mr. Hoggo for Uprising Academy. Scalar was one of the big moments for them in their victory over Sky Foxes, and on this map specifically.
That's going to be a trade, but Swimmer gets the res onto Tidawat, though it is evened up by Phase 2, so you know, everybody's just going to be feeling momentarily good, and that's a nice eat. This is something that divas have to do when you're running against Orisa, is to eat those halts. Otherwise, you're just leaving it up to chance. You're just hoping that your enemy is going to miss, and that's not a chance that Uprising Academy is willing to take.
Tanner versus Mirror right now. Tanner dies first, but is at an enormous ultimate advantage. But when you're dead, that doesn't matter what your ult charge is. And the res, I believe, has already been used. I don't think the cooldown isn't done just yet. Yes, it has actually. Left is going to be able to res Tanner, who is already at Bob. This could do a lot of damage against Uprising Academy. They don't really have enough to defend against it. Klaus, though, going to get Tanner before Bob could really do anything. And they're going to be able to deal with Bob, no problem. Bob did not do a thing. Phase 2, again, on this defense, need to stabilize somehow, and getting victimized by this Dragon Strike is not how you do it, as Klaus is popping off.
I mean, the Dynamite was demolishing Uprising Academy, who only have a single healer in Swimmer as Mercy. And while Mercy is one of the best sources of consistent healing, it's single target. So when you get 3 tanks sprayed by that Dynamite, there's very little that you can do as a single Mercy. But hey, the offense made up for it, and what's better than a good offense? Klaus using that Dragon Strike excellently, not just zoning Phase 2 away, but essentially hurting them right into his sights.
What's better than a good offense, HamTornado? The good defense.
That's what Phase 2 are hoping. That's their motto right now.
Exactly. You're in their heads. You're the guru. Not guru, the guru of Overwatch.
The other one.
Phase 2 now going to use that supercharger. Klaus is going to get Pika's turret. Tanner with a triple TNT kill. When was the last time you saw that?
All right, Tanner. I mean, he has been a revelation on this Ashe. And Uprising Academy, unfortunately, Punk was off somewhere else, you know, doing his job. And unfortunately, even a diva of Punk's caliber can't be everywhere at once. Man, 3 squishies with a single Dynamite. That is called value, my friend. And the worst part is there's no way to cancel out that damage over time if you're running that single Mercy. So you can only pick one target. Who's going to be most valuable? Swimmer's like, no, you're all beautiful children in my eyes. I love you all equally.
Everyone has to look for a health pack at that point in time, because that does stop the burning. But the TNT getting the triple kill, again, that's pretty interesting to see. You don't see that every day. You're going to find the accoutrement of the Torb on the other side. Let's see if Mirror is going to be able to do as much as Tanner is on this Ashe. Tanner going to try to get rid of Bob, who's in the middle of the point, and there's a Transcendence to try to counter it. Tanner going to get that nice headshot onto the Hog. Bob's coming through. Punk should be dead here, and Tanner on this Ashe has been hard to break through for Uprising Academy.
Yeah, Uprising Academy, we really haven't seen much from Klaus so far in the last couple of fights, and if you have the advantage in setting up that crossfire, you need to be making, you know, something happen, because Tanner, this is something that's become very, very common on Paris Point B, is you leave one DPS, long-range DPS, basically just to, you know, fend for themselves and look for those opportunities and set up those crossfires. And while Uprising Academy was, you know, busy dealing with Bob on the point and trying to find value from their own Bob, surprise, the call was coming from inside the house.
Uprising Academy are going to have to deal with another Phase 2 defense here, but they do have the self-destruct, they do have the Dragon Strike, and I like those 2 ults coming together because it can split people away. Klaus getting a nice initial pick onto Pika, but Tanner, once again, being a hero, Swimmer's going to go ahead and invest the res, so Uprising Academy can approach the 6-member Supercharger is there. Klaus does have Dragon Strike. Let's see what that's going to come out. I do want to see the Dragon Strike and self-destruct come at the same time, but Punk already used it. Punk is going to have to try one more time. You're going to find that pick. Dragon Strike goes room is going to make some contact. Mirror and Feng finding those picks. Uprising Academy should be looking at an open point. That they are. FaZe 2 had some bodies choosing not to be on the point. Uprising Academy are going to have more time in the time bank.
Yep, and look at that. Once Klaus shows back up on the kill feed, Uprising Academy are doing just fine and dandy, catching that point with over 2 minutes against FaZe 2's time bank. So FaZe 2 really do just need to see who else is going to be putting in that damage alongside Tanner, whose Ashe has certainly been amazing, but Uprising Academy have been able to leverage both of their DPS players, Mirror and Klaus, producing equally. And FaZe 2's, Sock's been a little bit more quiet, so this is not all over, though, for FaZe 2. They had an excellent engagement here, and they could definitely capture this point A again.
Well, it's something that we actually haven't talked about at length at all here, is that who is Tanner replacing? It is A10, who has arguably been one of the more consistent members of FaZe 2. This worked out for them last week, but Bermuda and Uprising Academy are different kinds of teams. Uprising Academy really hitting their stride right now. They've got 3 minutes and 25 seconds in at the time bank versus FaZe 2's 1 minute and 5. So this is going to be it for them. They have to try to get some progress here on this first point in Paris, which they were able to do pretty quickly on their last push. They need to repeat history.
1 minute, though, means you basically get one good long push. So FaZe 2 need to decide, how aggressively do we want to take this? Do we want to maybe poke and see what we can get? Or do we want to just barrel in there? And barreling in there is a little bit harder when you're running an Orisa. She's got 4 legs, but she's like way slower for whatever reason. And FaZe 2 is going to swap to a bit of mobility, put Pika on the Diva, and at least have the option for the bomb. And they're going to be running Mishik on the Roadhog too. So again, halt hook value is the name of the game. If you're not landing hooks, if you're not landing halts, then all you are is a giant halt battery.
You got to oink and then yoink is what I like to say. Let's see if they're going to be able to combo those two cooldowns. Nice halt TNT there. That's another common thing that we're seeing. The halt into concussive grenade from your Junkrat, the halt into various other things that you can set up with causing AoE damage or those headshots as well. As of right now, tons of damage going into Uprising Academy. Tanner on this Ashe has been tough for them to deal with. They should be getting the first point. It's a big deal for FaZe 2.
It really is. It gives them so much cushion, and it gives them a great shot at point B. Remember, they had a great opportunity, a great first push against Uprising Academy, who barely clawed their way in. So another map completion is certainly within FaZe 2's sights, and I love the way that they're allocating resources. Tanner is getting pocketed to high heaven, and why not? He is such a great player. He is carrying the team in terms of damage right now, and you need that against Uprising Academy.
FaZe 2 have that snowball potential. Nishik very close to that whole hog. Tanner can develop this ultimate so quickly. Bob should be available for them as they're going to go ahead and use that Dragon Strike from it. Sox, he's going to make some damage. Stormbow is out as well. Pika going to find that pick onto Bob, so that ultimate's going to be not as useful for Uprising Academy. Tanner gets another pick, though, and these Ashes popping up. This has probably been the most action these Ashes have gotten in a very long time. Uprising Academy and FaZe 2 are going to be locked in this fight, but right now FaZe 2 are going to find themselves on top. This could be another take for FaZe 2 as the bomb of Tanner going to be doing way more damage than the one coming out from Uprising Academy a little earlier on. And Uprising Academy see a miracle here to stall this out.
Oh, and it doesn't look likely as FaZe 2 looks to capture this point once again here. Mira on the Genji. He's like, it worked last time. Desperation Tracer not going to be too long for the world either. And FaZe 2 have, done something really interesting. A lot of times when you're running, when you see teams running multiple long distance damage, you can see them focusing around the shield. Yeah, everybody goes for that shield break, but Titawat has been eating a ton of damage. He's often one of the first people to fall on Uprising Academy's side, and so FaZe 2 has, really focused on winning the ground.
Definitely not as solid as on Control. Titawat struggling a little bit here on Paris. The reason why he was on Reaper was just to try to get back on to the point. Uprising Academy unable to do so. 4 points for a minute and 5-second time bank is glorious stuff for FaZe 2. They're looking good to potentially capture this map and even the series up. Uprising Academy gonna try their darndest to make sure that doesn't happen, but the momentum squarely on FaZe 2's side definitely feels like they have the advantage here.
Yeah, they basically won 2 points and 2 pushes. Uprising Academy really didn't have a ton of defense to stand on. They folded almost immediately. So they got to take another look at, where they're putting the resources. When phase 2 start feeling pressure, right, they immediately pop the healing onto Tanner, make sure that he's alive, because as long as Tanner's alive, the bodies will follow. Uprising Academy right now, they've been, providing a lot of healing to Mirror and Klaus, but Titawatt has kind of been one of the main targets that phase 2 has been picking on this entire time. And, your main tank needs a bit of love too.
That's a good piece of advice for all your main tank
PSA
haters
out
there. Give your main tank a little bit of love, especially in your ranked games, because it's a little bit of a selfless job sometimes.
Oh yeah, man. That's one of the reasons my ranked play is so rusty right now.
Uprising Academy and phase 2 are going to be meeting each other in these extra innings. 3 minutes and 25 seconds in the time bank for Uprising Academy. Scalar is going to be on this Moira character that we've seen more and more often, at least today. You kind of saw the Moira sneaking in a little bit when the Sombras were super popular, but now we're seeing it without the Sombras. Maybe it's there just to try to counter it, but they could have switched and they chose not to. The Coalescence could be also a really great way to take down the turret of Pika and move that bunker to another place, because that damage can't be avoided through that Orisa shield. Good placement from that turret coming in from phase 2. Pika developing as fast as he can. That Molten Core really wants to take a little bit of this area away from Uprising Academy, but as of right now, we're just seeing some good old-fashioned Overwatch. Good old-fashioned left-clicking Uprising Academy that are going to have that Coalescence very soon. Titawatt, though, is going to fall. Punk and Klaus are very low, but it's also Klaus is going to get 2 picks onto phase 2. The D-Mech, though, coming in from Sucks and making interesting here, though, going to keep the momentum on Uprising Academy side. Scalar on this Coalescence could be all they need. Scalar gets Tanner. Klaus gets another hug. Uprising Academy get the point.
I really like this. They're like, we're done playing these Orisa shenanigans. I don't like this, man. You want to avoid the fight? You want to hit us from range? Well, we're going to take the fight right to you. And if you don't face us, then we're just going to take the whole point. And Uprising Academy is setting quite the pace. They've taken point A in just a single push as well in phase 2. They got ultimate, so they don't want to swap off, but they have to think about how they're going to use this, because Uprising Academy, they have Whole Hog ready. And grab Whole Hog is a super powerful combo that we haven't seen in a very, very long time, but probably one of Uprising Academy's best options to close this fight cleanly.
Phase 2 admittedly had a better snowball into this second point. They had more ults, and they have more ults. Now they're going to go ahead and put all their marbles into one basket. Dan's going to find that pick. Use every ult except for the Valkyrie that they had at their disposal. That means Uprising Academy are going to have a little bit of time to catch up here. Should have waited a little bit. The damage happening too fast. We would have gotten a hammer kill if the Molten Core wasn't statted out like that.
The Molten Core is just so powerful. I still think it looks like boils all over the floor. But hey, it works. If it works, it works. And phase 2, able to rebuff Uprising Academy, who literally just walked into that Molten Core straight up. But they now know that that ultimate is off the table, could all be part of this grand plan. And the most important thing is Mirror is 80% to this grab, and Nisha can't even think about this trans, can't even dream about trans, especially, very close. He eventually does die.
Are they going to camp the body, though? The res could be available for them as Klaus is going to take the turret out of the way. Dance is going to get bullied out. Klaus has really showed up here on Paris so far, and Klaus is not the one that I think a lot of people expected this to happen with. He's been very quiet throughout the last couple seasons. He came in with some noise, being one of the only representative from South America here in the North American Contenders, and as of right now, he's a big reason why Uprising Academy are staying on top here onto the second point in at Paris. They should lock this up. You are going to go ahead and use that Shatter Scalar, getting another pick. This should be all UTA.
Yep, a much better, much faster cleanup this time around for Uprising Academy, learning from their mistakes on control. And Klaus doing South America, repping them well right here.
Yeah.
I think we've already seen him play 3-4 heroes.
It's not just Alabong an Overwatch lead, right? It's Klaus as well. And Klaus came in at the peak of what I believe South American Overwatch was, which was about a year ago when it was Brazil Gaming House, Isurus Gaming, formerly of Karma, who were beating North American teams back in the day. Klaus and his partner Valen provided a lot of opportunity for that team because they both played hit scan and projectile style, so you never knew who was playing which. That's why he's got a Widow and a Hanzo. This Hanzo was very well known in South America as well, and potentially can be well known here in North America. But so far, the Hog has been the most surprising thing coming in from Klaus.
Yeah, I think Phase 2 was surprised too. Scalar has been the one to pick up the Hog in the past for Uprising Academy, but this time around they're like, hey, I think Klaus could do pretty well with the Big Wig Pig. And now Phase 2 have to go round 3. Welcome to HCP, folks. It's possible we could see another full map completion. This is only 5 seconds less than Phase 2's starting time bank. Just throwing it out there. So Uprising Academy are not going to go with the Orisa defense again. I would say this is a very wise move. It's crumbled like a cheap suit the last 2 times we pulled it out. So why not just go on a goats?
Here we go. Uprising Academy on the defensive side. Phase 2 have 1 minute to do exactly what they did last time with 1 minute and 5 seconds, and that is to take 2 points. And I like what Uprising Academy. Gotta be sneaky. They don't know you're there. Nice tech to see around the corner. That's why they're doing that for those at home. And they still don't know they're there. Oh, they're going to go ahead and freak out as Phase 2, I think, did figure it out in the end. That's why they weren't aggressing, and Uprising Academy deciding that it's better to just go to the normal thing rather than force a potentially cheesy play.
And they've cut the time bank down half. There's only 25 seconds left. Phase 2 has to win this fight. It's even so far.
Trades going on, but a support for a tank is pretty good for both teams. Uprising Academy and Phase 2 have that 5v5 mirror, though it's not going to last much longer. Phase 2 have a huge opening here on this first point on a Paris. So much damage going into Uprising Academy. What is this Ana supposed to do? And this Ana is actually performing extremely well as being the only support that's putting in all of that healing for their team. There's only so much Glimmer can do as well for Uprising Academy, as Phase 2 are going to find themselves some progress here on the first point. Uprising Academy are going to go ahead and just give it up. 30 seconds on the clock for Phase 2 as they walk into the second point. This time, though, not a ton of ultimates. Pika, Dan, close, though.
Yeah, very close, but Uprising Academy are even closer to a Nano and a Rally. That's going to be a big advantage. They only need to win 1 fight. That's true for both of these teams, so the pressure couldn't be greater on Dan, who, has not been playing the Reinhardt so far. Gotta warm up, keep that APM high.
Klaus is going to use that Rally. Dan is so very low, but that nice ally barrier is going to keep him alive. Self-destruct is out. The Earth Shatter didn't land, but Pika going to go ahead and get 2 picks. Tinawa didn't have the shield available. Pika getting the 3rd pick. Pika is going to be the hero for Phase 2 on this 3rd attack for them. Who needs the time bank? If you're Phase 2, they should be getting at least 2 ticks. It's overtime, so overtime spawns are going to be hitting Uprising Academy, who are switching to the stalled characters. Graviton Surge is out, locking them up. Uprising Academy give up 2 more points here on Paris. Where's the defense, HamTornado?
Oh, man.
What's better than a good offense? For Uprising Academy would have been a great, good defense, right?
It is. Man, it is summertime and the snowball is real. I mean, Phase 2 played that very, very well. And honestly, Uprising Academy gotta go back and figure out what the heck is going on with this defense. They swapped to a composition that they should be solid on, that they've shown, they've proven results on. Still folds. You can't allow for those early picks to go on. You only need to win 1 fight, and Uprising Academy 1-0.
Well, it's kind of the decision of, do I stick with this Roadhog that Klaus was very good on for 1 round that has the current hot hand, or do I go with something that is generally better? And in this situation, Klaus is having a game, and let's go ahead and put a little bit more onus on Klaus rather than the team. And how do you do that? You put him on Hanzo or you put him on Hog. You don't put him on Brig. Brig is arguably his weakest hero and has been for a very, very long time. It's like water on Brig, right?
He's like
good at everything. He's good at everything other than the hero that he has to play because of the comp, right?
Exactly. I mean, just look what happened to Wub when you took him out of Brig jail, finally paid up that bail. Klaus, though, is going to be on the Brigitte, at least for now. I expect to swap. There's no way you play Brigitte with an Orisa composition. As we're just taking a scout. No, it looks like we're actually going to see a little bit more goats from Uprising Academy. They have a bit more time, a bit more leeway, and boop. Your wish is Uprising Academy's command. Wait a second.
They're wasting so much time. So much time. That's about 20 seconds off the clock, but it's an investment.
Exactly. They are investing resources into Klaus and into this composition. They want a Hog, that's going to be Scalar, and they want a Hanzo, and that's going to be Klaus, but they still need to watch out for Tanner's Dynamite. Swimmer is already put under so much pressure, just being the solo healer with 2 chunky tanks and so many people to heal up against that damage over time.
TNT could be a little squirrely as well. Lepto going to invest the res, so everything coming in from Uprising Academy will be permanent as Tinawa is on the Orisa, which of all of this is arguably where this is going to break. His Orisa has not impressed me so far at this series. Let's see if I can be proven wrong, though.
Yeah, and I mean, it could just be that he doesn't get a ton of healing. You see, right now, Klaus, Mirror, Punk, Tinawa, Scalar all need Swimmer's healing. Does have the Valk right now, so he can fulfill that role for now, but phase 2 are operating with both Lep and Nishi.
Nice! Klaus is going to take down Bob, and that's going to give things an give them an opportunity to progress a little bit further, as they know they're not going to have to worry about that ultimate, as everyone in the sky is going to be taking damage. Tons of damage going everywhere. Left is so very low. He's going to potentially have to use that Valkyrie to save himself, and Klaus is going to fall thanks to Pika's Icicle. There is technically a res. I believe it's 30 seconds. No, Swimmer is going to go down, and imagine if they had 30 seconds on the clock right now, if they didn't spend so much time deciding what to run at the beginning of the series. I still think you put Klaus on Roadhog at this point in time because he played it so well earlier. I think the initial thing was better. It's like when you're in your ranked game and you find yourself on your 7th hero and you're wondering why you're losing, right? It's so much switching can be bad. Klaus, you had the opportunity. You got rid of Bob, which is good for you, but in at the end, just they didn't know how to approach the point. It was like they're still deciding if that comp was right or something.
Yeah, and I honestly think that the solo healer, the solo Mercy, especially against phase 2's Ashe, not a good look. There is so much stress put on Swimmer, and it's nobody's fault. It's just the composition that you're running. Because, you know, Scalar on the Roadhog has a ton of self-sustain, and we see teams running Roadhog as basically, you know, a Tracer Sombra type, where you're, you know, free-ranging a little bit, looking for those halt hook opportunities, and that's not what was happening with Uprising. We didn't see any halt hook combos that entire push, which is what you're playing for. We didn't see any, you know, halt Stormbow. We didn't really see any kind of coordination between the heroes, between the players, because everybody was taking so much damage constantly all the time. And if your main tank is low, you can't push forward. If your DPS are low, they can't poke for kills. And, you know, it's just too much for a single Mercy. Maybe if you're on the defense, you could, you know, kind of fall back a little bit like that, but Uprising Academy needed to push the pace, and they weren't able to do it. They didn't have enough heals.
Yep, I think, and, you know,
Tanner's so accurate with that Dynamite.
The thing about that team comp too is the kind of the same thing as, do you run your DPS on Sombra or do you run your Diva on Sombra? What they were deciding is, do you run your DPS on Hog, or am I going to run my Zenyatta / Flex support on a Hog? And there are gives and takes for both sides, but Klaus on a Hog is what changed things for them on that second point, and that could be, you know, a once in a while type of thing. But Klaus was having himself a game on a Paris, and I think just that 30 seconds of deciding a comp can put yourself in such a weird mindset that no one's going to feel confident coming out of spawn, because everyone seems to be having a say in what you're going to be running.
Decision paralysis, it's a thing.
Exactly. Check my Twitter to see exactly what that looks like. My dog has a lot of decision paralysis, but they're going to have to figure out a way to break through, because also Tinawa not having as good of a game as he did on the first round of Control. The Orisa was not as solid as the Winston going forward, but we are at halftime. We're going to go ahead and take a 6-minute break for both of these teams, and we will see you on the other side.